Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Prof. We are from Group 1. We are going to talk about a topic that has been assigned to us, the Islamic philosophy. In Islamic philosophy class previously, you have taught us, we have found out that there's a lot of Islamic philosopher like Ibn Sina, Al-Farabi, Al-Ghazali and many more. So for this assignment purpose, we choose Ibn Sina philosophy as the main discussion. And in Ibn Sina philosophy, we decide to talk about 5 main topics of his philosophy. First is about the nature of soul. Second is about the theory of knowledge. Third is about the concept of essence and existence. Fourth is about the concept of emanation. And lastly is about the mystical tendency of Ibn Sina. Coming to the first concept, the concept of soul. Ibn Sina believed that human soul is distinct from the human body. Unlike Aristotle believed that human body and human soul is one. So, in defining the human soul, he has categorized, Ibn Sina has categorized the human soul into 3 main categories. First category is the vegetative soul. Second category is the animal soul. And last category is the human soul. In vegetative soul, Ibn Sina has outlined 3 characteristics of this vegetative soul. First is nutrition, second is growth, and third is reproduction. Coming to the second soul, the animal soul, Ibn Sina has outlined 2 main faculties into this animal soul. First faculty is the perceptive faculty. Second faculty is the motive faculty. In the perceptive faculty, they are divided into 2 faculties. First is the internal faculty. The second is the external faculty. I will talk about the external one because it is obvious. The external faculty is about the external, the human 5 senses like hearing, seeing, listening, touching and smelling. And in internal faculty of the perceptive faculty of animal soul, it is all about the internal one like imagination, memory, estimation, recollection and common sense. Okay. Coming to the second one, the motive faculty of animal soul. Motive faculty has 2 types. First is active, second is impulsive, which consists of anger and desire. Coming to the last soul, that is human soul. In human soul, Ibn Sina has divided the human soul, or known as rational soul or intellect, into 2 types of intellect. First is the theoretical intellect. Second is the practical intellect. In the theoretical intellect, Ibn Sina has divided that theoretical intellect into 4 types of intellect. First is the habitual intellect. Second is material intellect. Third is the actual intellect. And fourth is about the acquired intellect. So, in describing the relationship between the soul and body, even though Ibn Sina think that soul and body is different, there has some relationship, and the relationship is because of the power from the body. The body has power, according to Ibn Sina, and from the power of the body, it produces action. And there are 2 types of action. First action is the action with volition. Second is action without volition. The soul that is connected to the action with volition is the human soul and the animal soul. And the action without volition that is connected with the soul is the soul of the vegetative. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, here I'm going to talk about Theory of Knowledge by Ibn Sina. Theory of Knowledge is the second most famous theory by Ibn Sina. According to him, human intellect can be said as tabula rasa. Tabula rasa is a theory that individuals are born without built-in mental content, which contain nothing, just like a blank paper. Therefore, all knowledge that we all have comes and derived from our experience, perceptions that we perceive through our empirical senses. In short, it can be said that human intellect has the potentiality that we actualize through our reasonings, educations and learning. So basically, theory of knowledge talks about how our senses absorb the form of things from physical world, then it goes to our imaginations. Here we are able to differentiate things into their categories and classify them. However, we do forget things, and sensations comes to help us to remember them by joining things together into our imaginations. So it can be said that imaginations connect us to active intellect, and through active intellect we able to obtain knowledge from pure intellect. So what is meant by pure intellect? According to Ibn Sina, pure intellect refer to God. Therefore, we obtain knowledge from God. Here we have sense perceptions, retentions, imaginations, mind to pure intellect, and active intellect. So, in order to make sure that human intellect should be effective, there must be some particular structure, instrument that regulate and verify the soundness of our thought and reasonings. And the instrument is logic. So logic is the instrument that protects human intellect from making mistakes. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Essence and existence according to Ibn Sina in philosophy. Essence and existence have different meaning, different interpretation, but it's relate each other. Essence can be defined as something that innate in ourselves as human being, which what can define us as human, while existence it depend on the idea that we subscribe to. For the example, if we are empiricism, then we will say that actually existence is something that we can perceive by our senses because it is in physical form. But when we depend on the idea of spiritual, like Ibn Sina did, then we will say that actually existence is something that beyond our knowledge, beyond our senses, we can perceive by our senses. Why? Because it is spiritual. First, I have stated that essence and existence relate each other. Why? Because every existence have essence, but not necessarily essence have existence. There are some questions relate with essence and existence. For the example, is it true God has essence? And is it true that God essence similar with human essence? And the next question is about human being. We have, as a human, we have essence. And is it true that actually our essence is God? And the last question is about, is it true that actually we share essence as a human being? We as a human being share a similar essence. This question I will explain later in my part, essence and existence according to Ibn Sina.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amirunnabil bin Ibrahim. My matric number 253281. Today I would like to share a little bit about theory of emanation by Ibn Sina. As we know that Ibn Sina is the one of the most famous philosopher in Islam, and he was influenced by Neoplatonism, and one of his theory is emanation, or known as fiat. This term does not exist before, even in Quran and Hadith, and he considered that the world was created gradually by God. The creation of the world and the existence of the world today was made by superabundance and greatness of the God, and the God does not have any willing intention or consider to create this world. And this idea also received critique from many scholars, especially Muslim scholars. One of it is Imam Al-Ghazali, the most famous philosopher, and he disagree with Ibn Sina theory because it lowers the function of the God itself. The function of God is create the things, creates the everything in this world, and it also contradicted with Islamic philosophy and theology. It is mentioned in Quran, Surah Ali Imran, verse 47, when Allah said be you, then the things happens. So that's all that I can share today, and we will explain deeply in our presentation.
Mysticism in the Islamic context has traditionally been intertwined with the notion of hikmah, which is at once both wisdom and philosophy. Ibn Sina, in his great work Remarks and Admonitions, or called as Al-Isharat wa Tanbihat, had his explanation on the mystical tendency and his Sufi doctrine, and also there are explanation on the ultimate relationship between divine and human souls. This aim of relationship based on Ibn Sina, it is not the personal relationship with God, but it is the conjunction with the active intellect. Ibn Sina is the first to show how the human intellect acquires intelligible forms from the active intellect, which is come from the intuition. And in this theory of intuition, he introduced how some can reach the conjunction with the active intellect and to get direct knowledge from God. The acquisition of intelligible matters can comes only by the middle term of a syllogism is obtained. The capacity to hit spontaneously upon the middle term is called hads, where it is the mental act which some can reach to the conjunction, which is called ittisal with the active intellect, which is aqlu af'al. Thus, in his Remarks and Admonitions, in his last part of Sufi, he shows that the aim of the humanity is to attain the conjunction, the direct conjunction with the active intellect, and from there they will get the direct knowledge from God.
Finally, we have come into the conclusion part, where in this part I will summarize everything that have been spoken in this video. At the beginning of this video, I have spoken about the nature of soul from Ibn Sina, where according to Ibn Sina, the soul has three characteristics, has three categories. First, vegetative soul, second, animal soul, and lastly is the human soul. And then we move to the theory of knowledge, where Ibn Sina believed that human is tabula rasa, where when human birth, human have no knowledge, and Ibn Sina believed we obtain knowledge from the perception. And then we move into the essence and existence, where now we know that the essence and existence have relationship, in which every existence have essence, but not every essence have existence. And then we move to the theory of emanation, where according to Ibn Sina, he believed that the creation of the world is from the superabundance of God. And lastly, mystical tendency, where we know that Ibn Sina is not 10 for the ittihad thing or the wahdatul wujud, but his mystical tendency is more on the intellectual urge from the soul of the human soul to connect or ittisal with the active intellect. I think that's all from us. Thank you.